going on, everybody? This is Waylon Martin with Bodybuilding.News. Today we are discussing the EVLS Prague Pro. The win by Bonac in Prague is a major upset as he beats both Dexter Jackson and Big Ramy, who had won competitions earlier in the week. With these competitions being held so close after one another, there is some fluctuation in water, etc., but not large enough that it would be the determining factor in who's going to win or lose these competitions. Actually, it's quite possible that regional favoritism is a big factor, if not the determining factor. Because these competitions have been held so closely together, a big variable will be water fluctuation and just slight detail. But these guys are professionals, and so they're going to bring a generally similar package to what they were able to. Dexter Jackson, for example, fell into third place, but has always brought that blade-like conditioning we're used to seeing him at, and was likely 95% of what we're used to from Dex. However, even a 95% Dex is usually enough to get the job done, but that wasn't the case in Prague. With Ramy once again going into the second place spot, this time ahead of Dexter Jackson. In fourth place, Shawn Rhoden, who following the Olympia has had a rather disappointing run of competitions. Sure, a guy like Roelly would be ecstatic to have these types of placings. However, for a guy like Rhoden, who just came in second at the most competitive contest on earth, these third, fourth place finishes aren't what he's looking for, especially if he wants to be considered a serious threat to Phil Heath. He's going to need to be able to handily beat the rest of his competition. Lastly, in fifth place, Roelly Winklaar, who again brought an awesome package, just genetically limited with wide hips, etc. And that's only in some shots. It's important to remember that Roelly has an awesome front double, for example, and when his waist is under control, looks great, small, aesthetic, and adds to his physique. However, in a shot like the overhead abdominal, Roelly's obliques become overpowering and draw attention away from his physique, instead to his blocky waist. And in sixth place, Lukáš Osladil, or Odasil, I'm not quite sure the pronunciation. This guy, a former 212 champion who went on to win open shows. Last year, he was able to win the Phoenix Europa, which qualified him for this year's Olympia. And although he hasn't qualified yet for the next season, being able to place at such a competitive show like this shows that he should definitely be in the mix of those smaller tier shows, such as the Europa again. The big question of this competition is whether these changes in placings that we've seen following the Olympia are indications going into the future or just blimps on the pathways of these bodybuilders. Does a guy like Ramy, for example, lose any perceived momentum following such a tremendous upset of Dexter in Kuwait? And is a guy like Shawn Rhoden, who arguably could have won just a few days ago in Kuwait, going to consistently now fall behind guys such as Big Ramy and Dex? As well, is Bonac himself going to be able to maintain these types of placings? So far, he's been very competitive, and he's definitely proved himself to be in the top tier of current professional bodybuilders. However, is he going to be able to consistently finish over guys such as Big Ramy? Or was there a slight European bias that contributed to the placings? During the course of these competitions, because they're so close to one another, we haven't seen much fluctuation. However, we have seen major change in the placings, and that's the real story of these recent post-Olympia contests. But already, the 2017 Olympia is shaping up to look like a good one. That's all for today, guys. Sorry you don't get to see my beautiful face here. I just want to bust out this video real quick. Kind of forgot this competition was happening today. But I'm Waylon Martin with Bodybuilding.News, and I'd be pointing at the camera right now. Out.